Don't be afraid. Hold on. You'll find your way.
Welcome to Growth Made Groovy, where we talk about everything from healing medicine music, working through life challenges,
and developing awareness and connections as we heal and grow along our journey.
Hi, everybody. I'm Noel.
And I'm Caroline.
And you've reached Growth Made Groovy.
You've reached it. Yes, you have.
Yes.
Yeah. So we got some interesting start today, and we are going to talk about the very first song that we wrote and kind of give you some little input as to where it came from through us individually and together. And maybe get some feedback from you guys as to what you thought about it. So, Noel, why don't you go ahead and play it, and then we'll go from there.
All right. And it's called Long and Lonely Road. And here it is.
This is our modern technology version.
Yeah.
Heading down the road again. Journey all alone, with a higher power by my side, going with the flow, walking on by the hurting, working on letting go, trusting what life's offering, believing in what we know. Long and lonely road, traveling with my soul, leading me to who knows where now. As far as I can go, long and lonely road. Look how much we've been through. Know how we grow. Standing in our own true power. We're never alone. Long and lonely road, traveling with my soul. Lead me to who knows where now. As far as I can go. Surrendering to be a light in love and free. Exactly as I traveling with my soul, leading me to who knows where now. As far as I can go, long and lonely road, traveling with my soul, leading me to who knows where now. As far as I can go, long and lonely road.
Oh my God. Okay. That's awesome. So here's the really cool thing is that song we wrote, and we kind of talked about it in the last session. We wrote that on March 13th, 2019, on the day that that we were considering, or we actually had a scheduled writing support group to do, and no one showed up. So we decided to do we told you, we decided to do cover songs, and then it led to that. And I just want to give like a real quick background of of that before we go into, you know, what we felt it was about in each of ours. But anyway, so like for me, Noel had been singing since he was in his 20s and playing the guitar and writing music and all, you know, all kinds of stuff. And doing his own EPs I think, what was it? Two or three?
At that point I had three. Yeah.
Three.
Back in
Yeah.
2000, 2002, and then 2017, right before
25th of 7th. Yeah.
17,
Yeah.
18,
It's hard to remember
they all
this
start
stuff.
to get
I
interesting.
know.
I remember the farther ones better than the more.
I know
newer
that's
ones.
called long and short-term memory, but we can have a conversation about that another time. So real fast, I used to play the keyboard, the piano when I was little. I used to play the violin, the cello. I was in the chorus. I used to do musicals, you know, all kinds of stuff. And I just fell apart. I had my I kept being told that I wasn't good enough, and so I just gave up on it. And moving fast forward, when I met Noel and we started talking about it, I mean, literally, I could not, when I walked in his office when we started playing the cover songs, I couldn't even look at the keyboard in his office. I was like so turned off from the piano that I couldn't do anything. I really didn't feel like I could sing. I felt so embarrassed by that song. I loved the words, but I was so embarrassed at my singing because I hadn't done it in 40 years. So the fact that we got together and brought this piece out, regardless of what it, you know, how it sounded on the recording, to me, I mean, other people like it, but I'm just being honest. I think that's a good place to start, because I was so uncomfortable writing that song or not singing that song because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know it was the first time I'd ever been in a recording studio before. I had no clue what to expect, you know, but it's, aside from the, you know, my feelings about it, it's still a good song. So Noel, if you want to start,
Yeah.
you know.
No, I mean, I love that song. I love our connection, what we made with it. Because that was the first time I had really, I mean, I had done some co-writing and singing, obviously, when I first started in the 90s. I did with my friend Carrie. And then after that, a little bit here and there. And then with Addison, we did a little giddy up there before I met you. But yeah, that was the first time I really sat down, wrote together lyrically, and, you know, the music had downloaded through me and the vocalization, and then we started putting lyrics on it. And then when we sung it at that first place in Wellington, Village Music Cafe, outside and then inside, it was a whole new experience. And so, yeah, there's a level of vulnerability that I wasn't used to, not just writing with somebody, but singing with somebody. So that's where I was at. I mean, I thought you sang great, and, you know, it's like, just sing away, you know. And
Well,
I was
I'd like
more
to
at just, you know, caught up in, like, you know, the connecting through the song, you know?
Yeah. I think me, I was so wrapped up in my head that, you know, I knew that you were very, at the very beginning, you were very supportive in a way where I could screw up as much as I wanted to or did or whatever, and it was still okay. And that was really important to me. And the whole piece is, for me, is really about, you know, I'm doing it again. I mean, that's why this is so important for me to talk about it. And the way I'd like to do it with Noel is like to do it in the progression of all the songs that we wrote. And what's interesting is we've come full circle, because we are literally heading down the road again, you know, and we're going in a whole different direction. And I've talked about how I felt alone being up here, moving out of South Florida, and just the words just connect with me, because those are the things that are happening, you know. And it's like the most important piece of that is how much we've grown together, individually and together, and how we continue to grow. And yeah, we have our moments, and yeah, there's this sometimes, and yeah, we frustrate each other. And yeah, I think that any musician or any duo that's ever gotten together has gone through the same dang thing. So it doesn't shock me. But it's just so important how much we've grown through this, and I'd like this to be the beginning of a series of, you know, showing that growth and how we walk through it and the challenges we had, and, you know, being as vulnerable as we can without, you know, getting too deep into story, because we don't do that. We teach ourselves and others how to get out of stories. So yeah, I mean, that's the most important thing to me about this music that we've done together. So
yeah, no, I you know, that song still strikes a nerve, like you say, lyrically, but also musically and energetically.
mhm.
But yeah, like you say, the first line, heading down the road again, you know, this journey all alone with the higher power by my side, going with the flow. That's all we ever really are doing anyways, you know, together, apart, individually, in relationship as humans.
But sometimes it's more obvious when there's like a split.
When there is, yeah, there's a
Yeah,
demarcation, if you will.
yeah.
And, you know, and then the next line that you sing is walking on by the hurting, working on letting go, trusting what life's offering, believing in what we know. So, I mean, yeah, and we said we weren't going to go over each lyric, but those lyrics are pretty poignant,
Yeah.
like you say, to because we're going to have pain, hurting, grief, loss.
I was just going to say grief is a big part of that. So
Yeah.
that's, letting go.
And learn how to let it go, learn how to feel it, learn trusting what life's offering, you know, what's happening in the moment, the acceptance,
Mhm.
you know, bringing that acceptance into the heart. And that's what we know, believing what we know. I like that line. We say believing in what we know, because belief is of the mind. It's a concept that the mind grabs onto and says, oh, I believe this, I believe that, that's my belief. Knowing is in the heart, is the intuition, or in the gut, you know, it's that deeper knowing. And so believing what we know, so bringing it from the heart out into the mind, so then I could, you know, really go after it, you know, whatever that is. So yeah, no, I mean, these songs, this song especially, yeah, we got off to a good start. And then we just kept going. I mean, you know, like you said, we'll have at least 25 episodes. It might be 30. I don't know the count, but
32.
32. She's got the count.
32,
Okay.
maybe plus a few little things in between, but yeah, it'll get us out there. Yeah.
Stuff. But but this one was, it is, you know, the kind of the hallmark song. I mean, out of all our songs we played, either in treatment centers or on stage and showcases, open mics, whatever the case may
Or
be,
Zoom.
or in Zoom,
Or
wherever
on
we've been,
Zoom during the pandemic. Yeah.
we this song has always rang the most,
Yeah.
connecting to, you know, we were going over what are the topics for each song, and this one to me is always connection, because it does connect soul to soul, you know.
Yeah. And also the thing about the heading down the road again part, it's like every time we're always growing, we're always changing. That's I think that's one of the reasons why we came up with this title for the podcast, because it's the growth part of it. And we just, because it's with music, you know, groovy from the 70s, whatever, I don't know what that, but we're always growing, we're always changing, we're always moving forward, whether we want to or not. And you know, even each one of our journeys that brought us together was part of that process, you know, and we both went through some things, from a lot of stuff, you know, and we can get into that more as we go, because we really don't have a lot of time today. But what's important to know is that everything that we went through was a lesson learned, and then growth, and a healing opportunity, and freedom. But each time there was a freedom in it. And that's so important. And that's another piece of that, being on the road, because there's a freedom. To me, that's the way I see that, is the road is freedom. You know, whether you're alone or not, there's still freedom in that.
Yeah, it's a choice, you know what I mean? And it's not just an intellectual choice. I mean, it's a choice of what am I going to focus on? And the key to that freedom is the acceptance of what is. It doesn't mean don't still feel, and don't still, you know, if you need to defend or resist or fight or whatever you need to do within the feelings of the moment, it's just the acceptance is, okay, this is what's happening. Now I get to choose what I'm doing with it, what I'm doing with myself, how I'm doing it, how I look at it, what I let in, who I let in, who I
Yeah.
reach out to, how I reach out, all this kind of stuff. And that's really the opening in the song "Long and Lonely Road" is that that's okay. That's the backdrop, and then how am I? And then when there's a we, more than I, you, me, him, her, them. How can we look at this together, both externally and internally, and how I'm dealing with it.
Well, and that's where I was going to say something. Initially, I mentioned talking about awareness, and we're not going to go into that today because it's a big, big subject. But that's where the awareness comes in. That's where the observation, the observer, we are observing ourselves as we walk through this journey. And that's where awareness comes in, where instead of just staying on this narrow path of I don't want to do, I don't want to see, I don't want to do, I'm going to stay, whatever. It's becoming bigger, this bigger awareness of how I behave in a situation, how I express myself out in the world, that type of thing. And the more we heal, the more aware we get about things. And it's so freaking powerful when we have these awarenesses. It's crazy. And I'm just, it's even bigger. I learned it as we progressed through our journey together. And now I'm like, whoa, there's more stuff happening. There's more awarenesses. Oh, yeah, how could I do this differently? How could I not do that anymore? Whatever. And learning and just being with yourself and learning how to love yourself. And I could go on, but yeah. So I think.
Well, no, and I think that touches back to, so it's interesting, where does a title come from of a song, or where does for a podcast, where do these things come from? And so, originally Growth Made Groovy is the GR alliteration, growth, groovy, and the music. But if you think of the word groovy, the original connotation, like you said, in the 60s and 70s, oh man, that's groovy, which means good
Groovy,
vibration.
man.
Well, which means a higher vibration, a vibration that feels good, a flow. But I'd also take it to another level. The groovy, what is groovy? It's a groove. And so, what groove are we allowing ourselves to, to be governed by, operating through, what's our operating system? And our grooves is our choices. And when we don't feel like it's a choice, then what happens is we are like kind of a victim and, to life's happenstance. Yeah. And it's not, it usually brings anxiety and really upset, depression. So our whole point of this podcast is to grow and, to really expand that through all these different kind of ways to be able to share,
Yeah, now all we need to do is figure out how to be able to play this for people without using the dinosaur way.
Well, yeah, I had my phone. We do, but if we don't figure it out, I'll do it like that again, because
doing that until we figure it out.
We have all the different dynamics. We just need some Zoom help here, which we were on for just to make the recording. I don't know. It's all fun, but
yeah.
Hopefully, the essence is there. Is what we're sharing is from our heart to yours.
Yes.
And that it comes back, and again, yes, your feedback is not only welcomed, appreciated, but requested.
Yes.
What's coming up for you? What are your thoughts? Commentary, even I'll even say criticism, you know what I mean? Whatever's needed to come
constructive.
Well, right. I mean, I hear you, but whatever's needed to come out of you so that we can continue to grow.
Yeah. And work, I mean, that's the whole point, is being with people. Like if something comes out of you and then we can recognize that, we can also walk through that with you, because we're walking through it ourselves. So it's not like we can't recognize it. So, whatever. And just don't be mean about my singing until later. I'm kidding.
Honestly, the only mean person is you.
I know, right? And I figured that out. That's another subject, of self-judgment.
That is a whole nother, that's
right?
Yes.
I know, it's a whole nother ball game.
Trust me, I just entered in that too, as I tried to rap for the first time in a new song that I just wrote.
Yeah.
And I put it out there, and it's, I'm very nervous because I never did that, and I'm not trying to be a rapper, but I am trying to, it's like, again, try something new, expand. how you do things, and it's the scariest thing you can do.
Yeah.
But it's also the most rewarding because you've tried it. You followed your heart and tried something, and that's what you did. A couple of years ago when we wrote this song, and that's what we continue to do. On
And
that groove.
that's, yeah, and it's so important. I just want to say this to people. It's like, I run into a lot of people who've stopped being creative because they're so scared to step back into it, and I totally get that. And so, I've obviously from what Noel just said, everybody has that. It's just, even if you're just doing it for yourself, just to see what it's like, I think that's so important. But if you have been a musician or have been an artist in your life or have done things like that, try it again. That comes from your spirit. That comes from a total part of you that wants you to be part of life. And that's how you can be part of life, through creativity. And people tend to get like waylaid, like I did, by people saying that I wasn't good enough at it. And, okay, whatever. I don't care about that anymore. But I did it one time, and now I'm like, you know what? Freaking go for it. Don't just not do things in your life because someone told you. That's their stuff. The reason they want to hold you back because of their stuff. So just do it. Nike came up with the best phrase ever. I don't wear Nikes, but they came up. Just do it.
And do it from a place of being who you really are.
Yes. Yeah. The truth. That's the truth. Yep.
All right. So wonderful being here and sharing us our heart to yours, and have a beautiful rest of your day. And we offer much love and peace to you.
And keep into the awareness and awesomeness of your day. Bye.
Bye-bye. See you next time.